Hi, folks. Welcome. We'll just wait a few minutes to get started. If you are not already in the working group meeting notes, meeting minutes, feel free to add yourself in. And if you have anything that you'd like to talk about, feel free to add them in there as well.
Hi, Michael. I have one note. I would like to cover the office hours in the first 30 minutes of our call.
I already put you at the top. You'll be first up. Thanks. All right, terrific, everybody. Welcome to the July 20th Identifying Security Threats working group meeting. I will be your host. If you, as I said, if you haven't already put your name in the minutes, feel free to do so. If there's anybody here that has not participated before and would like to introduce themselves, the floor is yours.
Hi, this is Manjunath from Wipro. I work in India, Bangalore. I work on artificial intelligence technologies and a little bit of homomorphic encryption security. I'm looking for the opportunities, how we can contribute for securities in terms of artificial intelligence. That's why I'm participating in this meeting.
Awesome. Welcome. And I'm sorry about the time zone. One of the things we're going to chat about
not an issue. I can. Thank you.
We want to endeavor to be equally painful for everybody. So, anybody else?
Yeah, I'm John. I was here probably about a year ago, and I'm with Intel. So I do some like supply chain security stuff there, and various open source work. On the front of the AI involvement, it's funny that somebody said that, but we're working on sort of this developer assistant, developer helper called Alice. So that, you know, the Alice and Bob sort of thing. And the goal will be to go around and try to like proactively deliver best practices to people. So, you know, hey, like we noticed that your scorecard is low in these areas, right? So here's a pull request that maybe gives you your contributing docs or something like that. And so that's kind of the idea of what we're doing there. We're kind of taking this focus. I don't know if anybody has heard of the inner source patterns, but it's a community of folks who are trying to apply open source practices to internal development. And so we sort of have a open source community, and we're trying to do the inner source stuff internally and the open source stuff externally. And a lot of this work revolves around analyzing Git repos and stuff. And so we had talked last time I was here about the metrics. And so, you know, I'm here again. It was unfortunately out of scope for me, so I had to get out of the working group, but now I'm back. And so I'm hoping we can work together. And I'm really excited about some of the stuff that I saw with, you know, the stuff that's happening here, and the way that we could bridge that with the Omega Alpha stuff that I saw you had recently done, Mike. And then maybe look at things like SCITT, that architecture for secure supply chain, that I believe there's a working group out of that I saw that was related to that, and I wanted to bring that up today, talk a little bit about that, and ways that we could kind of connect a few of these initiatives.
Terrific. Awesome. Welcome back.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Cool. Okay, so we'll start with project updates, office hours. Marta, floor is yours.
Thanks. So what is office hours? Is a project we are starting right now to provide the opportunity for open source maintainers to have a place they can come and ask the security related questions to experts and hopefully get some answers and have them happy and improving security of their projects, right? So there have been already some discussions in this group, in the best practices group, and I wrote down a link to the discussions in the document I've posted into the meeting notes, and I worked on the logistics, so dates, times, how we do it. So I was looking at the calendars, at the time zone conversion of how we can set up meetings so that it works for different audiences. So I put the proposal with, of course, there's no time zone that works for everyone. You know that. So what I propose, in short, to summarize what I propose right now, is that we run first 2 sessions at the end of August. Then we do a short break because there's a Labor Day holiday in the US. Then we have the Open Source Summit Europe. So people will be busy during those 2 weeks. And then do 2 other sessions in the second part of September. So we have 4 sessions. After 4 sessions, we can look at what we have done, how it worked, and how we can adjust and how we go forward. Then on the planning side, also timing, I looked at the possible time zones between how to cover Asia and how. And I'm proposing 2 different time slots. So as we have 2 calls and 2 calls, we can do one in one time zone and the other in the other time zone. My big open question here will be, will we be well staffed in both of those, because it won't be convenient for everyone. So I'm already collecting feedback right now. If you can note that in the minutes, chat me on Slack or whatever, what will be the possibilities for those dates, and I will be I'm also pinging all people who have shown interest in the past to make sure I have clear answers from them. And then the other important topic that came up in the discussions is which format do we do? So there was a discussion between allowing everyone to come in and ask their questions, or doing a registrations, allowing them to ask which subject they want to talk about. And the second one has more support right now. It has some advantages. It allows us to prepare on the time. We can limit the number of people we can host. We can prepare on the experts. We can grab the right people. And we can also think a little bit on how we can answer. Maybe we can group the questions. As we do not know how it's going to happen, we can prepare in our case. So I think that's what would be at least the best choice for the first 2 sessions, to see this way, and maybe then we can experiment another solution. So I'm looking feedback for that too. What opinions are, and I'm reaching out to the Linux Foundation team for the actual logistics, so the organization of Zoom rooms or the registration and how we can communicate, all those things that that needs to be done. So what I would like to do is to have the registration and first communication somewhere at the beginning of August. So the people have like 2-3 weeks to register. And then we do those sessions, and yeah, hopefully we are going to help people.
That all sounds great. Yes to all of it. What might be helpful, just recommendation, just do like a doodle poll through to OpenSSF members, like give the slots and say, can you make any of these? And that way you just
Good idea.
More people.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Thanks.
Yep. And then Jen would be the one that you'd coordinate through to get the Zoom set up and all that, and that should all be easy.
Just got that after sending to Jory, and got that email. That's the email with all the people to contact because she's not there.
Awesome. Yeah. This all sounds great. Anybody else thoughts?
Just that I can volunteer as one of the experts if projects have questions about security audits and stuff like that.
Thank you, Amir. I think you're already on my list, but worst case, you will be 2 times on the list.
Excellent.
Someone may have volunteered you, eh? We may want to do a blog in addition to kind of Twitter for the outreach. They're going to blog out on like the 4th or 5th saying, hey, this is coming, click here to register and stuff, and then have the Twitter point back to the blog, and that way we kind of capture that. Yeah, this all sounds great. Thank you for driving this. Cool. There's nothing else on that topic. We'll kind of move on. Okay. So let's see. So next topic I had on the agenda was a meeting time update. So we've been doing this at 10 a.m. Pacific every other week for, I don't know, a year or so, maybe a little bit longer. And we used to, sorry, let me close my window because like a lot of noise outside. We used to have it, I think we had before that we had a more like 2 time slots, and we alternated to try to make it less bad for our folks in Europe and Asia. What's everybody's thoughts? I mean, if practically everyone, if this time slot is great for almost everyone, and moving it would make it terrible for most people, like I want to like minimize the badness. But if folks have thoughts, I think most of the other working groups are morning Pacific time focused. I think a few of them have a evening Pacific time, which would be like super early morning Asia time, I think. Point is, I'm happy to find a time slot that works better. Or we could do the flip alternate again and do once a month this time and once a month at like 6 hours from now. How about this? I will, if you have thoughts, obviously you can say them now, throw them in the doc under the meeting time update, or I'll send out a doodle poll with options and then just choose whichever option is the most taken, whatever that is.
Yeah, one thought, Michael, that we're floating around in securing critical projects is potentially alternating. So doing, one of the sessions in the month during our normal time that we've been having it, and then the next one being like an APAC friendly time zone. I think we're aiming for, I think 4 p.m. my time, so that would be, I think 2 p.m. Central. So that could be something to consider, to maybe doing kind of alternating, where, because we also want to be, you know, inclusive of folks in those time zones, and so yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's say, how do we do this? We'll say preliminary alternate between US and APAC friendly times. Cool. All right, so let's see, next topic, TAC update. Okay, so for those of you who, so some of you may know, probably most of you don't, the Technical Advisory Committee is responsible for kind of the overall technical direction of OpenSSF and kind of understanding left to right, kind of what we're working on and making sure that we are kind of delivering the promise that we've, you know, kind of made. Part of that is visibility and transparency into the work that we do, which I think all of the working groups to, you know, they provide some information to the TAC, but not complete information, and we don't have like a formal reporting process. Well, we do now, and that formal reporting process is a periodic. We are invited. I'm invited, and you folks are invited to come too, if you'd like, to the TAC meeting. To just kind of, I'm just going to do a deck, and it'll be probably 1 slide per project, and it'll be, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and this is the status, and it gives them the, it's mostly an inform. To be clear, it's not really a asking permission. There's some negotiate, like if they think what we're doing is really awful, like they will push back, and we will iron that out. But this isn't, you know, we're not explicitly asking for approval for anything. And then that's also good because we're probably due for an OpenSSF public town hall, which we would want to use that opportunity to kind of articulate the things that we've done. So what I think I'm going to ask for is everyone who is driving a project or a process, or if you're driving a thing, I would very much appreciate a single slide. You could do 2 if you want, but I think we'll be kind of time constrained on what it is. So I'll send out like a template of just so they kind of look the same, but it'll basically be like, what is it? Why we're doing it, what the status is, and if you need anything, basically, or like what's coming next or something like that. So I'm imagining, you know, Amir for security reviews, Christine for metrics, Marta for office hours. I'll do one on Alpha Omega, even though that's kind of separate. And we'll just kind of go from there. And oh, and Luigi, I'll ping. Is Luigi on the call? No. I'll ping Luigi for security insights. So I will send out a template and post it in Slack and whatnot, so you guys can get to it. Any questions there? Wunderbar. Okay, project updates. Luigi's not here, so we'll say deferred. Christine, any updates on metrics?
Yeah, I need to catch up with the folks from last week because I missed the meeting, but I know from one of the previous meetings, there's a couple of action items. One was to just get it on link up with Jory to get it on the calendar so that it would be on OpenSSF. And the other question was more to bring this to this group. I've noticed in some of the other working groups that there have been, like those working groups adopted a particular strain from the mobilization plan. And the thing that I was curious about is for the metrics project, is this group like adopting or like the stream, one of the streams as specifically the one related to, I would say it would be like the stream 2, or is it like, what is kind of like the thoughts around that?
That's a good one. I don't know. I haven't, the way I've internalized this is like the mobilization breakdown is like one list, and the working groups is a completely different list, like generate completely independently. So there's like weird overlaps between the two. I don't feel any like need for the metrics work to like live under this working group. I think it does, it should live under a working group. So if best practices is the better one, great. If it's this one, great. So I don't know if there have been other conversations where I guess Crow has an opinion here. I like whatever works. I'm just kind of as long as the work gets done, I guess is, you know, it's all good. I also think that we would, as an organization, OpenSSF would benefit by being less siloed. So having more projects that consume expertise from different working groups, that's better. That just creates more connected tissue. So.
Okay. I guess that was one of the previous questions, just because the metrics, like this exploration started out of this working group.
Yeah.
We thought it was under this, but yeah, not sure.
I mean, it probably is effectively. The other thing, which is a little awkward, I guess, the way that the metric stuff was described in the mobilization paper was very much LFX specific, and we
Right.
have not moved in any meaningful way toward LFX, except in like with you and Jay and Vinod kind of exploring that. So it's not like we've done a lot of work and it's just like pent up like work to get
Yeah.
out. It's we've talked about it and thought about it a little bit, but that's about it. So short answer, whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah, I had also looked at those stream docs, and I had talked to C. Rob about which ones I thought were aligned. I unfortunately, Outlook deletes my emails after 3 months. So he might still have the email, but I was thinking as well, it would probably make sense for us to try to understand what streams this is aligned with, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
in
action
fact,
item is- sorry. Go
oh,
ahead.
sorry. No, you please.
I said it seemed like from that action item is potentially to line up or at least sync up with C. Rob and see what he thinks.
Yeah. I think any alignment is good. We'll when we talk to TAC next week, we can actually raise that with them, since they'll have better, and we can actually we could ask their opinion. Say, hey TAC, well, where do you think this belongs in our working group, or do you see a better working group? And they'll say, oh, it should be X, and then we'll say, thank you.
Okay. And Vinod just jumped on the call. I don't know if he
Oh, hey,
actually
Vinod.
was able to attend the last meeting, because he's a part of that too.
Hey, so sorry, I was late. Can you repeat the question?
So since I missed the last metrics project.
Yeah, so I had to cancel it. No one else joined, right? Like Jay didn't also rejected. I mean, he had something else. So
Okay. Yeah, so the discussion we just had was around like which working group it would live under. So there's like an open question and it'll be brought up to the TAC.
Terrific. Anything else from your end, Christine?
No, nothing for me.
Okay, perfect. Moving on, Alpha Omega. So I think a few of you were on the Alpha Omega public meeting call earlier today. If not, that will be the recording of that will be on YouTube. I can give a quick synopsis of where we are. Just in fact, let me just share, and I will give you the really fast version of the presentation that works for everybody. Share screen. Cool. Okay, so welcome, we're already in the public meeting. Welcome updates, and we had probably a good 40 minutes of discussion, so or maybe half hour of discussion. So we are still hiring. There are links to the job descriptions out there. We're exploring other ways of funding the position, or not funding. We're finding somebody other than direct hiring, just because the market is quite tough to find to fill these roles. Either way, though, we're still looking. So if you know anybody or are interested, please apply or ping us or share. For Alpha, you guys know we announced Node a couple months ago. We announced Python and Eclipse in Austin last month. We have not signed the paperwork there, but we are rapidly approaching that. So we'll start getting updates from them probably in September. All those progress reports will just get PR'd into the Alpha Omega repo. For Omega, the tool chain is still pending, and I'm feeling increasingly bad about this, but it is waiting for kind of legal approval due to the way that the license for CodeQL works. That said, we've had a little bit of success so far. So we had a CVE in Node that got fixed earlier this month. We had a RCE in a build script for JS Hint that was deleted. The build script wasn't actively used, so they just removed it. And we've got two, and it's actually, well, two CVEs that were just kind of waiting publication. And actually it's two more that we disclosed yesterday to the maintainers. So we should know back in a couple of weeks on what those look like. We also put together the way that we found the Node.js vulnerability was system call tracing. And we noticed that when Node started up, it tried to read from a file in the home io.js directory, an OpenSSL config file, and it didn't find it because I don't have that user on in the environment that I was testing on. But we thought that perhaps that pattern exists someplace else. So we're now running every Ubuntu package, every binary from every Ubuntu package through effectively a scaled down version of the tool chain and dumping the strace logs to a repo. So now you have a kind of a one-stop shop of show me every Linux package that when a binary starts, it does a DNS query or things like that. So it's kind of interesting, or at least we think it's interesting. So if it doesn't actually provide value in the end, no harm, no foul. But I have a feeling that we'll find some interesting things with that. We also absorbed sos.dev into Alpha Omega. I don't say absorbed, but we are partnering closely with them, and they will be under the Alpha Omega umbrella. This allows us to directly reward individual developers for fixing security bugs and improving security for the long tail of open source software. This was funded by Google, but I think it's administered technically through the Linux Foundation, and we're looking to see how we can advance this and move this forward and expand it and make it as useful as it can be. So if you have thoughts on this, we are all ears. And then there was a call for like how to participate, which is, as an individual, sos.dev is a good way. Improving security tools is a good way. And then just generally being on the Slack channel and chiming in and joining the working groups. Questions on any of this? Cool. Let me find my window that went away.
Hey, Mike, quick question.
Yeah, of course.
For the rewards program specifically, is that opt-in, or is that like a nomination model?
No, it is so if you go to sos.dev, there is an FAQ and it describes, and it's a little bit like, it could be a little bit clearer, but effectively you, if you think that, I don't know, pick your favorite project. If you see that that project it doesn't have branch protection enabled, maybe that's a bad one, because only a maintainer could enable that. You run a tool, you find a couple security issues, you report it, they fix it, you tell the sos.dev team, hey, I found these issues, they got fixed here. When it's accepted, they say, great, we'll give you X dollars in cash for it. So it's not opt-in, like maintainers don't need to like proactively say, make me a part of this program. The money is available to anyone, not just maintainers. So
Gotcha. Okay.
but as part of this, like, we're also exploring, like, is this the best model? Like, is, you know, if there's a better way of getting to the same end, like, you know, we're all ears. Cool. Okay. Back to it to Amir, security reviews. How we doing?
All right. Yeah, the repo is looking good. I'm updating all of the ones that we at OSTIF just published this week and last. We published 4 new audits in the last 2 weeks. So going through and just updating that into the repo. And yeah, I'm excited to give this update to the TAC, because I think one great metric that we can use is, you know, we started with 0 and now I think we're almost at 100 reviews in there, just both from us and from you, Michael, from the work you did with Omega, and just the community in general uploading stuff in there. So we'll be able to highlight that you know, the repo is gaining traction. We're getting new stuff in there all the time. And yeah, again, any other contributions are more than welcome. I might need some help again with some of that kind of automated testing that gets done when we try to upload reviews. I know Dylan helped a lot with that last time, but overall the repo is looking good. It's constantly being updated, and yeah, any feedback is always welcome. But yeah, we're just uploading as new stuff comes out.
Awesome, love it. All right, that is the end of our official agenda. Is there anything else that anybody would like to talk about? Are there things that we should be doing that we're not, or ways that we're operating that we should be operating differently, or anything?
Yeah, if nobody has anything else, I'd like to, I know it sounds like the metrics have split off into a separate thing, so sorry if this is the wrong form, but it sounds like the Omega Alpha stuff also relates to some of this data capturing, and like, that's why I mentioned that, this is where I kind of wanted to try to see if we could connect some dots here. But yeah, last time I was here, we talked about, how do we insert data into the shared metric DB, and I've been, watching the space. I didn't have official scope to get involved, and it looks like there's several things that have been evolving in the area, including this SCITT architecture, which looks to be something along the lines of a standardized way that we can go about viewing the provenance information involved with our software supply chain. And so as a part of this collection of metrics and stuff, the source side of things becomes part of that provenance information as we want to get more, the deeper you get, right, we're starting to look at that source code as part of the provenance. So I'd like to see if maybe we could, all come to an agreement on, how are we going to collaboratively, how do we contribute to this database, right? Whatever that is. And, is something like this. I noticed Azure has this confidential ledger, which has this public-private option. And with Stream 8, there's this, there's this concern about vulnerability sharing and keeping some of that stuff embargoed. And so this looked like, this SCITT in combination with something like confidential ledger looked like a potential way that we might be able to, what the current situation look like, and whether that's something that's been considered, or just where things are going.
So the way that I've been thinking about SCIT, it's not necessarily what SCIT actually is, but the way I've been thinking about it has been, SCIT is basically a schema and rules on how one would assert facts, whether it's confidential compute or just traditional like permissions. Like I think that's kind of implementation details, I think. So you've got metrics, which is like, a tool ran against GitHub and saw that you had like 30 different contributors, and opinion, and it says 30 different contributors is a good amount, so you get a gold star for that. And then there's I as a consumer, how do I discover that fact, and can I trust that that fact is accurate, all that. So I think you could imagine a world where things like Scorecard or any other tool that static analysis tools, any kind of tool that analyzes a thing and then states something, that statement is expressed as a SCIT assertion and uploaded to some either distributed or centralized.
Yeah, exactly.
Store. And then you go and you query that store and say, tell me everything you know about,
exactly
who, and you get that back.
Exactly.
I haven't seen anything to suggest that SCITs, like, I'm trying to imagine what a SCIT like UI would look like, or what even like.
I don't think.
Sorry,
I
can I
guess,
just ask what is
yeah.
SCIT? Sorry for interrupting. Just to
I
understand
pasted
the context.
the link in there, in the chat, but I have my.
Yeah, so SCIT is supply chain and I think it was like a background.
Supply chain integrity architecture. It's an architecture for supply chain integrity. Yeah. Something like that. I mean, this is probably like a future, probably like a in the future thing, because I think they haven't landed all the components and they're still in draft phase. But I just wanted to raise this now, because as this evolves, it's only going to get more complex, and we're going to have to deal with this data provenance thing.
Yep.
And so maybe just like we do whatever we're doing now, but maybe we just sort of start thinking about it. I just wanted to know if it's something that is worth start thinking about and start trying to align on, or whether we are gung-ho about the way that we're doing it now, or whether we're considering other options.
I mean, so Christine, Vinod, I'll certainly defer to you if you guys have thought about this or have intentionally not thought about it. My own take on this is that until we have an implementation that's like downloadable and usable and cross cloud, because if it's Azure only, I think it's a non-starter for
yeah, of course, yeah.
OpenSSF. But so once it's at least beta, let's kind of explore what that would look like, and it may be as simple as taking the facts that are created by whatever tool is using it expressing that, signing it, doing whatever the you know,
Yeah,
and dumping that into
because I was
the
looking
ledger
at,
as a fact.
yeah, because right now, you know, everything is we're all looking at, you know, Recor and the transparency logs and stuff like that. And you know, that's great stuff. And I think that's probably like, you know, what we'll do for provenance right now, at least with Intel, right? And the open source side of it. But you know, this is really looking at like, okay, you know, okay, so data insertion, arbitrary place, wherever, right? Provenance, probably Recor right now, and then, you know, in the future probably bridge over to this new space if that, it sounds like this is something that you all are, you know, it seems like it fits in the umbrella of this area, right? So at least from my perspective, that's my trajectory now, and I'll try to, you know, stay in touch with you all on that, you know, to assume that.
I can't imagine it working any other way. Like you can't feasibly like rewrite all of the tools to work internal into a we'll bridge it all later. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and at the end of the day, it's, you still need to trust a thing to be doing the thing correctly.
Yeah,
You can add integrity after the fact, but you know, so
yeah, okay, cool. Just wanted to, sounds like we're aligned. Cool, thank you.
I don't know, Christine Vanad, if you have different opinions, feel free.
I'd love to hear.
No, I don't know enough about it to have an opinion. So,
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
similar situation here. I don't know that much about Skit and what you're mentioning about. Is there any?
I just found it like yesterday when I saw this whole, the DID recommendation became official, and you know, I was just trying to make sure that I always try to look out there what other people are doing, because you know, everybody's doing great work and I don't want to duplicate anything. So if they've got that down, then you know, I want to run with that. If we all agree that's good, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, one of the things that we were discussing is trying to kind of like collect all of the different data sources. So definitely look at this.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Terrific. Anything else? Looks like you guys might get some time back. There's nothing else. Everybody have the great rest of your week. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you being here, and we'll sync back again in about 2 weeks. And for those who are have a project, expect an email from me with a request for a slide by Monday would be terrific. So thank you. Bye everybody.
Thanks, Michael.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.